Mentors. Great mentors. Do you know, great mentors are totally interested in helping the mentee expand their mind. That's what their whole world is about. You see, these mentors have developed the unique ability to transfer to the serious student the wisdom they learned, which was responsible for their own great success. Their life's mission is to pass it on. Mikey and I were discussing this, and she asked me if I would pass along to you some of the great lessons I've learned. So I've dug out some old pictures, and I'm going to share them with you. I want to talk to you about my great mentors, because I believe there's lessons here that you can learn and you can benefit from just as I have. See, these lessons are, you could say they're generic in many respects, but it's how I took the lessons that they gave me and went from losing in a very big way for most of my life to success that has gone beyond the scope of my imagination. It all started with a man named Raymond Stanford. Now, I apologize for the picture. It's the only one I had, and I even had to crop that out of a snapshot of a half a dozen of us. But Ray, he was a unique guy. He was able to get me to believe that I could succeed. See, the idea of success, it always belonged to someone else, never belonged to me. But he got me to believe that I could succeed, that I could be happy and healthy and wealthy. Now, I don't think I was really that sick, but I got a lot of colds and headaches and everything. He said, there's no need of that. He said, it's your body, Bob. You're making your head ache. You can make it well. Ray impressed me. He impressed upon my mind the absolute necessity of learning from the best. He said, Bob, everybody's got opinions. They've got a flock of them, and they'll give them to you. They won't cost you a dime, then you know what they're worth. But he said, if you really want to win in a very big way, you're a young guy, you got your whole life in front of you, you want to go to the very best when it comes to success and fulfillment in life. Then he began to share a story with me about an old Scotsman by the name of Andrew Carnegie. Now, I had never heard of Andrew Carnegie, but Carnegie came from Scotland to America when he was just a very young boy. He had nothing, but he became the wealthiest man in the world. So far as we know, he was the first billionaire. And he was friends with Henry Ford, with Harvey Firestone, you know, the President of the United States, the real heavyweights. I guess if you're the wealthiest person in the world, you would be. And in his own thoughts, he thought it was a shame that people like himself, like Henry Ford and Edison, when they passed on, that they would go to their grave with all of this tremendous information locked up within them. There was no organized laws of achievement that they could pass on. Now, at the same time he was entertaining these thoughts, Ray explained that there was a young reporter by the name of Napoleon Hill, worked for a local magazine, and he got a 3-hour interview with Carnegie. You know, I've thought about this many times. He must have been one nervous young guy. Here's a guy in his early 20s going to go and sit down for 3 hours with the wealthiest man in the world. Well, at the end of the 3 hours, Carnegie said, Napoleon, this interview isn't ending. As a matter of fact, it's just beginning. And he took him home, and he spent 3 days with him, sharing his philosophy of achievement and how he had accomplished what he had accomplished. And Hill said later on that he could take almost everything he learned, and the essence of it was captured in a statement. Carnegie said, any idea that is held in the mind, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Now, what he was really teaching him is that all life comes from the non-physical. It starts in our mind, and we create the world that we live in. And at the end of the 3 days, he said, now, Napoleon, he said, you've learned a lot over the past 3 days. He said, I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want a yes or no answer. He said, I believe all this philosophy should be organized so that it can be passed on to other people. He said, would you spend the rest of your life, dedicate the rest of your life to an idea for which you would probably receive no material compensation for at least 20 years? I would like to commission you to write the laws of achievement. I will give you letters of introduction. And Hill became friends with some of the greatest individuals in the world. Now, unbeknownst to Hill at that time, Carnegie had a stopwatch under his desk. He gave him 60 seconds to answer the question. 1 minute. In 29 seconds, Hill said he'd do it. Hill later said he was 31 seconds away from missing one of the greatest opportunities that ever come down the road. And then he said, now, Napoleon, you're going to have problems. You're going to have lots of problems. And he said, everything in you is going to tell you to quit. He says, because that's the easiest thing in the world to do for weaklings. But he said, I don't think you're a weakling. But he said, you're going to need something to help you. So he said, I'm going to give you a statement, and I want you to repeat this statement. I want you to read it to yourself, looking in the mirror, every morning and every night. No, he said, I'm going to give it to you. I want you to write it down. So he said, I want you to underline each word, Napoleon. And this is what he said, I want you to write. Now, he said, you're talking to yourself. He said, it's you doing the talking. I want you to write, Andrew Carnegie, I am not only going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Well, Hill threw the pencil on the floor, and he said, now, you know darn well that can't happen. No, he said, I know it won't happen unless and until you fix that idea in your mind. No, I said, Napoleon, I want you to make a commitment to me that you will read this every morning and every night for 30 days. He said, you can do anything for 30 days. So Hill thought, well, okay, I'll do it. Now, he pointed out later on, he said the first time he did it, his brother was in the house, so he went to the bathroom and locked the door. He didn't want to appear to be foolish, and he whispered it in the mirror. Andrew Carnegie, I am not only going to equal your achievements in life, I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Well, you know, he said by the middle of the first month, he started to think maybe this could happen. By the end of the month, he knew it was going to happen. Now, it's reported that Andrew Carnegie created 53 millionaires in his life. Napoleon Hill has created millions of millionaires. You see, it did work. He fixed it in his mind. Well, Ray said you've got to study his work. Now, Hill had spent his whole life studying, and then he put it in a book, The Laws of Achievement. He captured out of the Laws of Achievement, Think and Grow Rich, and I began to study it. And Ray said to me, I want you to do exactly what I tell you and do exactly what you perceive Napoleon Hill to tell you. And so I decided I would. Now, I was earning $4,000 a year. A year later, I was earning $175. See, Napoleon Hill taught me the laws that govern the lives of 500 of the world's most successful individuals. So you could say Ray was my first mentor. Napoleon Hill was my second. Andrew Carnegie would be a mentor too, suppose, through Napoleon Hill. Now, along the time Hill was really rocking with this and broadcasting it, there was a young broadcaster in Chicago by the name of Earl Nightingale. And he took all of Hill's material and he applied it. And at age 35, he retired, financially independent. And he was asked to give talks on his success. And he got more requests than he could fill, and somebody suggested he recorded it. So he took and recorded it, and he called it The Strangest Secret. Well, I got a hold of The Strangest Secret. And I had that along with Napoleon Hill's book, and all of a sudden, I had a third mentor. It was Earl Nightingale. But you see, Earl partnered up with another man named Lloyd Conant. And the two of them put their mind together. Earl was a great visionary. Lloyd was a great businessman. He had a direct mail business. And he said, Earl, I can sell your stuff. Well, do you know, Earl Nightingale, Strangest Secret record, was the first record outside of the entertainment industry that sold over 1 million copies. That's right. And he was given a gold record by Columbia. In fact, I was working with him when he got the record. I decided they were going to both be my mentors. And in 1967-68, I went to work with them. Now, that's a picture of myself in 1968 with Lloyd and Earl. I learned so much from them. Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Conant literally introduced me to a brand new world. I thought I had been a serious student until I began working with these two giants. You see, Earl Nightingale really taught me how to study, and Lloyd Conant literally took the lid off my mind. Earl taught me to study each paragraph in depth, and Lloyd taught me there is no such thing as big or small. He says, just images. Whatever you seriously want, just imagine it. He said, be true to the image, and you'll attract whatever you require. Well, I had all this going. I had earned over $1 million. I was really successful, but I couldn't really connect all the dots. I had such a desire to share this, but it was all scattered information in my mind. And then I met a man, and I sat down with him, and he said, Bob, there's the mind and the body. And he said, the mind manifests through the body. The body's an instrument of the mind. He said, now the mind is divided into two parts. There's the conscious mind, and he said, there's the subconscious mind. Now, I said, you probably know this. And I did. I had read many books, Murphy's book on the power of the subconscious. But it was scattered. He said, you know something, Bob? Your mind's in a disorderly state. He said there was a doctor in San Antonio, Texas in 1934. He realized that if we were going to have any real success or health, that we had to treat the whole person. And he said nobody had ever seen the mind. So he said he was going to draw pictures of the mind. And when he introduced me to this image, my whole world began to change. Now there's a picture of the mind and the body. And there's the man that shared it with me. Leland Valdanduval. He was a phenomenal guy. Absolutely incredible. You see, Val brought order to my mind with this stick person image. And the image, coupled with his explanation, brought everything I had studied for almost a decade into an orderly state. I had developed a new awareness. I had the strongest desire to teach this. Val and I became fast friends right up until he passed, and I miss him. He and I were just great friends. I had all this information, but I was shy, and I was quiet, and I was withdrawn. And I wanted to teach this. You see, I have learned that you don't enjoy anything until you share it. And I was in the O'Hare Hyatt one day, and this man was standing in front of the room. Bill Gove. He was considered the Frank Sinatra of speakers. He captured everybody's attention. He held a microphone in his hand, and he was talking to the audience. And he said, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me I think you think I should be. Not the me I think my wife thinks I should be. Not the me I think my kids think I should be. He said, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. And I was sitting watching him. I'm thinking, my God, that guy's so good at what he does. And I made up my mind right there and then that I would learn to do what he was doing, and I was going to get him to teach me. Bill Gove became my mentor. He taught me how to totally relax in front of an audience, regardless of the size, and how to effectively communicate in a very professional manner. So you see, each one of these mentors taught me a huge idea. Oh, they taught me so many. But our executive director of 6 Minutes, Mikey Euler, asked me to share with you some of the main lessons I learned from my mentors. And you just got them. Now, I'm going to be sending you a couple other videos, and I will go into greater depth of what they taught me. But I can tell you this. I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and all because I did what they suggested. You take this information that I'm sharing with you, and you can write your own ticket. Watch for the next videos. I'll get into this deeper. It's about Proctor.